Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Emily, and on this channel we talk about disabilities and mental illnesses, specifically to advocate for myself, for other people who may have a disability or mental illness. And also, if you do not, the goal of this channel is to really bridge that gap between people who have disabilities or a mental disorder or illness, if you will, and those who do not, to break down stereotypes and really create a safe and learning environment here. So welcome. Today I want to talk to y'all about labels. I will talk about my own personal experience with labels, and if y'all have any questions or constructive comments, you can leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. So, first and foremost, I want to say, labels do not define you. If you struggle with any mental illness, disorder, disability, your disability or mental illness or whatever you're working through does not define you. Okay? You are not your struggle. It does not overcome you. Okay? I just want to tell you that. Do not be confined by your insecurities that come along with it. Do not let those control you. Accept them. Learn to work through them. That's something that I have learned to do. That's something I'm still learning to do every single day. It's a journey. You know, I have good days and I have bad days. And I'm sure you all do too. So I just wanted to make that clear. To me, labels are not limiting. They can be for some people. I understand that, and they can be scary, especially if you are just coming to understand that maybe you fall under a certain label, or maybe you don't want to identify yourself under a label. That's okay. You need to be comfortable with it. But in my own experience, I had to come and accept that part of me, to understand it, to fully grasp it, and then take hold of it and say, no, you are not, you do not begin and end with this label. You are more than that. I'm more than that. So this is my journey with that. And to me, they help me understand, you know, these feelings that I experience or these things that I experience, because if you're going through something and you have no idea what you're feeling, whether you're going through your first panic attack, or maybe you're experiencing hearing loss or something, and you just think you're going crazy a little bit because you don't understand what's going on or you don't know why it's happening, to me, a label helps me to understand, no, I'm not crazy, you know, what I'm going through is real. And I think a lot of times with anxiety and depression, a lot of people have said, oh, it's just in your head. And that is one of my triggering phrases. Literally, I've sat in therapy and my therapist is like, so why does that trigger you so much? I don't know, but I have been told that way too many times. And to me, labels are comforting because it's not in my head. It's a real thing. It doesn't define me though. It doesn't limit me, you know. If you have a disability or you have, you know, a mental disorder, it doesn't mean that you can't do things that other people can do. It means you have to do things differently. You know, I can still play sports if I wanted to. I can still go out and go shopping. I can still do what every other 25-year-old female typically may want to do. I just may have to do it differently depending on what it is. You know, like I said, I pull out my phone. If I can't see something, I'm gonna pull up my camera and look at it, you know? I just have to do it that way, whereas maybe someone with 20/20 vision won't have to. So that was a long rant, but I think it was really important. So I want to talk about my own specific labels. As I said, I am legally blind. That is how the state has defined me. And one of the things that I want to also disclose here is how I define myself, which can be tricky because I think one of the problems, like when you have a disability, is not the disability itself, or that's not the bigger problem. The hardest part of that is how other people react to that. Oftentimes people closest to me will forget. They'll say, oh, look at that. And then I'm like, it's too far. And they say, oh yeah. So, you know, the people closest to me may not notice. They'll notice in certain ways. But part of my anxiety is just meeting new people. How are they going to react? How am I going to carry myself? Am I going to disclose it right away or what? Because being legally blind, you're kind of in the gray area of blindness, right? I'm not fully sighted, but I'm not fully blind. I wear contacts, so I'm not sitting there wearing those glasses with thick lenses. I don't use a cane, and I don't have a guide dog. But I'm definitely visually impaired or legally blind. You know, I can't read things unless they're like right here. And you know, my eyes shake, and there's just different things that you will see that's kind of a giveaway. But I don't fit into that stereotypical image, and a lot of people don't, you know. So the state defines me as being legally blind, and I accept that label. Yes, I am legally blind. It is what it is. I have no problem with that. I'm also visually impaired, right? It makes sense. I have an impairment in my vision. I can't see 20/20. I'm nearsighted. I have nystagmus. You know, it's not perfect vision. So which label do I like to use? That's a hard one, because while I accept both labels, let's say I meet someone new and I say, hey, you know, well, I don't say that the first time I meet them, but once I get to know them and they get to know me as a person, I'll say, hey, by the way, I'm visually impaired. If I use the term visually impaired, oftentimes people will assume I have 20/20 vision because I can wear corrective lenses. That's on that hand. On the other hand, if I say, oh, by the way, I'm legally blind, often I'll get the questions like, oh, how many fingers am I holding up? Or, oh, can you see this? Or, oh, well, where's your cane? So, you know, and I'm in that gray area, and I have to accept that. Like, it's okay. I do not mind people asking questions. It's really how people ask questions. But what I do is I kind of gauge off of how someone may react. You know, you can kind of get a vibe from someone. Are they rough around the edges? Are they kind of judgmental? Are they nice, respectful, understanding so far? Sometimes you just don't know. So I might say, oh, I'm visually impaired. And then if they ask questions, then I'll explain, well, actually, I can't see, you know, that I can see that road sign, I just can't read the words. And they'll get a better understanding of, oh, okay, so it's a little further. It cannot be corrected because your retinas are scarred. Okay, I understand. And so labels can be tricky, but I am comfortable with using either one. And that's because, you know, again, it's in that gray area. You know, I can pass as fully sighted, or, you know, people might see me in a certain environment and be like, oh, she can't see anything, you know? And I'm okay with having that communication. I would rather someone ask me a question than someone put me on a label. I want to be able to define that myself, you know, as everyone should be able to. But I guess my message today is not to be afraid of labels. I had to accept that part of myself because I will say when I was in high school, I tried to hide that part of myself to others. You know, I had all these experiences and my friends would assume I was ignoring them or just brushing them off or whatever, when really I was having a panic attack, or I couldn't see them, so I pretended to ignore them because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I wasn't ready to accept that part of myself until I was in college. And I was all alone by myself in this town. I didn't know anyone except for a few people. And they were changing because, you know, when you go to college, you change as a person. No matter what you're going through, you kind of see who you are as an adult. You get to make all these decisions by yourself. And to me, I had to figure out who I was, you know, as this ever-changing adult, what I wanted to do with my life. And I had to accept that part of myself. I had to be my only advocate. And it hit me hard. My depression really, I don't want to say it wasn't at an all-time high, but it was higher than it had ever been before. And I had to accept that part of myself. And, you know, I grew to love myself. I'm still accepting that part of myself. I will admit it's a journey. Because I feel like when you have a disability or something you're going through, no matter what it is, sometimes you can think about those limits in your head. That's what I do to myself. You know, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. And that's not good. I go to counseling for it. I have been obviously medically diagnosed with my visual disabilities, but I've also been formally diagnosed as of 2019 with moderate depression, social anxiety, general anxiety disorder. To me, they're as a result of my disability and just, you know, the social anxiety, not having to do with my disability. And I'm working through them. I have good days and bad days, just like everyone else, but I'm here to say, again, to reiterate, it is okay to label yourself how you want to, learn all about it. Accept that part of you, have control of that part of you. No, it doesn't have to define you. Teach other people around you that part, you know, you do not begin and end at that perceived limitation, right? You just have to maybe do things differently than other people who don't have that same disability or mental disorder that you do. You are still as capable and as beautiful of a human being as anyone else, and that's my message here. I apologize, I got a phone call. But I guess I reiterated this message over and over again, and I just want you to know that, you know, you're as beautiful a human being, as capable of a human being with or without this label as everyone else. And that's why I feel the need to share, you know, for us to learn from each other. We're all living the same life and the same goal to succeed. We may have different goals or the same goals, but I think we just need to learn from each other. So thank y'all for watching. This video may have been all over the place, but I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.